स्मृणन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुर्विमिलितं तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादिपाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौतशुभाय हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधाकांत नमस्ते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी विश्वनाथ देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये पांचकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री द्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Welcome everyone. We are studying Nectar of Devotion. We start chapter 17 today. Bhava Bhakti, ecstatic love. Let's read. By the process of executing regulated devotional service, one is actually elevated to the transcendental stage beyond the material modes of nature. At that time, one's heart becomes illuminated like the sun. The sun is far off the planetary systems, and there is no possibility of its being covered by any kind of cloud. Similarly, when a devotee is purified like the sun from his pure heart, there is a diffusion of ecstatic love, which is more glorious than the sunshine. Only at that time, attachment to, sorry, only at that time is only at that time is the attachment to Krishna perfect. Spontaneously, the devotee becomes eager to serve the Lord in his ecstatic love. At this stage, the devotee is on the platform of Uttamadhikari, perfect devotion. Such a devotee has no agitation from material affections and is interested only in the service of Radha and Krishna. To clarify, in the previous chapters, the symptoms of devotional service were explained, along with instructions as to how we may execute devotional service with our present senses and gradually rise to the platform of ecstasy and spontaneous love. And the two kinds of devotional service, namely devotional service through regulative principles and through spontaneous love, were discussed. Within the stage of the regulative principles of devotional service, there are two divisions, namely executive and effective. This effective portion of devotional service is called bhav or ecstasy. So what is the executive portion of devotional service called? Sadhana bhakti, right? Effective is bhava bhakti, which means the result. In this connection, there is a statement in the Tantras that ecstasy is the first symptom of pure love for the personality of Godhead. And in that stage, one is sometimes found shedding tears or shivering. Not always are these symptoms manifest, but occasionally. When King Ambarish was put into difficulty by Durvasa, he began to think of the lotus feet of the Lord, and thus there were some changes in his body, and tears were falling from his eyes. These symptoms are activities of ecstasy. They are visible in the shivering of the body and the shedding of tears. After the outward appearance of these ecstatic symptoms, they stay within the mind and continuation of the ecstasy is called samadhi. This stage of appreciation becomes the cause of future exchanges of loving affairs with Krishna. Yes, Madhumati Mataji. You have to unmute yourself.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Prabhuji, can you scroll up?
I'm not
Elevation to the stage of ecstasy can be possible in two ways. One way is by constant association with pure devotees. The other way is by special mercy of Krishna or by the mercy of a pure devotee of Krishna. Elevation to the aesthetic stage of life is generally attained through association with pure devotees, while elevation to that stage by the special mercy of Krishna or his devotee is very rare. The purport is that one should execute devotional service rigidly in the association of devotees so that they will be certainly in raising oneself to the aesthetic position. In special cases, of course, there is special favor from Krishna, and although we should always accept that, we should not sit idly and simply wait for Krishna's special mercy. The regular duties must be performed. It is just as when sometimes it is found that a person who never attended school or college may be recognized as a great scholar, or an honorary degree from great universities may be offered to him. But this does not mean that one should avoid school and. Prabhuji, just scroll up a little bit. And expect to automatically receive an honorary degree from some university. Similarly, one should devotedly execute the regulative principles of devotional service and at the same time hope for Krishna's favor or for his devotees' favor. Hare Krishna.
Rashmi Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat. An example of rising to the stage of ecstatic love by executing the regulative principles of devotional service is given in the life story of Narada, which is described to Vyasadeva in Srimad Bhagavatam. Narad tells there of his previous life and how he developed to the stage of ecstatic love. He was engaged in the service of a great devotees and used to hear their talks and songs. Because he had the opportunity to hear the pastimes and songs of Krishna from the mouths of pure devotees, he became very attracted within his heart. Because he had become so eager to hear these topics, he gradually developed within himself an ecstatic love for Krishna. This ecstatic love is prior to the pure love of Krishna, because in this next verse, Narada confirms that by the gradual process of hearing from the great sages, he developed love of Godhead. In that connection, Narada continues to say in the first canto, 5th chapter, verse 28 of the Bhagavatam. First, I passed my days in the association of the great sages during the rainy autumn season. Every morning and evening I heard them while they were singing and chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, and thus my heart gradually became purified. As soon as I heard them with great attention, the influence of the modes of material ignorance and passion disappeared, and I become firmly fixed in devotional service to the Lord.
Thank you. Sujata Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. This statement is also
No, these are practical examples.
these are practical examples of how one can develop to the stage of ecstatic love simply by the association of pure devotees. It is essential, therefore, that one constantly associate with pure devotees who are engaged morning and evening in chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. In this way, one will get the chance to purify his heart and develop this ecstatic pure love for Krishna. This statement is also confirmed in the third canto, 25th chapter, verse 25 of Srimad Bhagavatam, where Lord Kapila says, "My dear mother, when a person is actually in association with pure devotees, the sublime potency of my devotional service can be experienced. In other words, when a pure devotee speaks, his words act upon the hearts of the audience. What is the secret of hearing and chanting? A professional speaker cannot impress transcendental ecstasy within the hearts of the listeners. However, when a realized soul who is engaged in the service of the Lord is speaking, he has the potency to inject spiritual life within the audience. One should therefore seek the association of such pure, unalloyed devotees, and by such association and service, a neophyte devotee will certainly develop attachment, love, and devotion for the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Thank you. Sayyidah Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranams. In the Padma Purana, there is the story of a neophyte devotee who, in order to raise herself to the ecstatic platform, danced all night to invoke the Lord's grace upon her. Sometimes, however, it is found that without undergoing any devotional process, one all of a sudden develops devotion for Lord Krishna. This sudden development of the devotional attitude in a person must be understood as a special mercy of Krishna or of his devotees. This apparently accidental development of ecstatic feelings through the causeless mercy of Krishna can be divided into three groups: simply by speaking, simply by glancing, and simply by good wishes. In the Naradiya Purana, there is a statement about development of ecstatic love simply by speaking. Lord Krishna said to Narada, O best of the Brahmanas, I wish that you may develop an allied devotional service to me, which is full of transcendental bliss and all auspiciousness. Shall I
Thank you,
continue?
Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu.
In the Skanda Puran, there is a statement about developing ecstatic love toward Krishna simply by glancing. It is stated there, when the inhabitants of Jangala province saw the personality of Godhead Krishna, they were so stricken with feeling that they could not withdraw their glance from him. As far as heartfelt wishes are concerned, there is a statement in the Shukla Samhita where Narada tells Śrīla Vyasadeva, you have a son who is the greatest devotee of the personality of Godhead. And I can observe that without any following of the regulative principles of devotional service, it's already enriched with many of the symptoms achieved by the execution of devotional service after many, many births. As for ecstatic love of Krishna, there is a statement in the 7th canto, 4th chapter, verse 36 of Srimad Bhagavatam, in which Narada addresses King Yudhishthira. My dear king, it is very difficult to describe the character of Prahlada. He developed a natural attraction for Krishna, and whatever I can explain about his character will simply be an arrangement of words. His actual character is impossible to describe. This means that Narada himself admitted that the natural development of Prahlada's ecstatic love was by the grace of Lord Krishna. Mukta Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. This natural attraction for Krishna on the part of Prahlad was developed simply by the mercy of Narada. When Prahlad Maharaj was within the womb of his mother, she was being sympathetically instructed by Narada about the science of devotional service. And at the same time, Narada was wishing that the child within the womb could also take advantage of the instructions. Because Narada, an authorized devotee and great associate of the personality of Godhead, was desiring auspiciousness for Prahlad Maharaj, he developed all the characteristics of a high-grade devotee. This is called natural attraction. It is caused by the special grace of the personality of Godhead or by the special grace of a great devotee like Narada. Prabhu, shall I continue?
Yeah.
There is a statement in the Skanda Puran wherein Parvat Muni tells Narada, my dear Narada, of all saintly person, you are so great and glorious that simply by your good wishes a low-born hunter also has become a great elevated devotee of Lord Krishna. This ecstatic love for Krishna can be divided into 5 divisions, which will be described by Śrīla Rūpa Gosvāmī later on. Hare Krishna.
It's a very short chapter. So Let's look at the content explained by Śrīla Prabhupada here. First of all, we should understand, which we have already discussed before, that the purpose of sadhan bhakti, whether it is a Vaidhi sadhan or it's Raganuga sadhan, is to awaken bhav. So bhav is the goal of sadhan bhakti, whether it's Vaidhi sadhan or Raganuga sadhan. Fine? So sadhan bhakti is known as executive devotional service, and bhav bhakti is known as the effective devotional service. Is bhav the ultimate goal? No. Ultimate goal is prema. Bhav comes one stage before prema. Right? Now, in devotional service, there are again two kinds of divisions. This is a little technical, so try to understand. One is called Cheshta Rūpa and the other is called Bhava Rūpa. Cheshta means endeavor. So if I am doing Vaidhi sadhan bhakti, is it Cheshta Rūpa? Yes. Correct. Then if through Vaidhi sadhan bhakti, I achieve bhava. And from bhava, I try to rise to prema and I put efforts. That will also be called Cheshta Rūpa because I am putting endeavor. Right? Isn't it? So this is one type of way. Vaidhi path, you put efforts, you come to bhav. You put efforts, you come to prema. So that's called Cheshta Rūpa. There is another one which is just through emotions. You come to prema. And that's called Bhava Rūpa. Now you may ask, without endeavor, how such emotions will arise? How such emotions will come in the heart? That question may come. So for that, we'll wait till the end of the chapter. Okay. So now let's look at the definition of Bhava Bhakti from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Madhya 23:5. Shuddha sattva visheshatma prema suryangshu samya bhak ruchibhishchittam ashrinya krit aso bhava uchyate. When devotional service is executed on the transcendental platform of goodness, it is like a sun ray of love for Krishna. At such a time, devotional service causes the heart to be softened by various tastes, and one is then situated in bhav. So, Shuddha Sattva Visheshatma Prema Suryangshu Samya Bhava Suruchi Vischittam Ashrinya Krit Aso Bhava Uchite. These are words defining Bhava Bhakti. Here in the definition, as we have already discussed before, the other definitions of other terms like Raga, Nuga, pure devotional service. So this verse defines Bhava, and here also there are two types of characteristics known as primary and secondary. Right? Mukhya Lakshan and Gauna Lakshan. Like for the pure devotional service verse, Anya Bilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmadya Navritam Anukuliyena Krishnanu Śrīla Bhakti-ruttama. We had discussed there was primary characteristic and secondary characteristic. Remember? What was the primary characteristic for that verse for pure devotional service? There were 5 things in that verse. And out of that 5, 3 were primary, 2 were secondary. What were those 3 which were primary?
Krishna, we have to
Sorry?
devotional.
What were those 3 which were primary?
Krishna, we have to devotional service is only to Krishna. That is primary.
Yeah, anukulyena krishnanushilanam. 3 words. That is primary. Secondary, anya vilashita shunyam jnana karmadi anabhitam. Secondary.
Nothing other than Krishna.
That's primary. Right? Secondary, anya vilashita shunyam jnana karmadi anabhitam. Similarly here, what is the primary characteristic of bhava bhakti? The primary characteristic is shuddha sattva visheshatma, which means it is the stage in which shuddha sattva enters into the heart of a practicing devotee. Fine. What is the difference between shuddha sattva and sattva guna? Paraprabhu.
It is beyond the modes of nature.
The Sattva Guna. Sattva Guna is under the 3 modes of material nature, and the Shuddha Sattva is transcendental to the 3
Very
modes.
good, very good, very good. So why sattva guna is known as sattva guna and this is known as shuddha sattva? Why this word shuddha is added to sattva?
It's
Sudhir
pure
Prabhu.
goodness.
Pure goodness. What does pure goodness mean?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Dandavat pranam, Prabhu. In Sattva Guna, there is still this impurities like pride, and there is still that self-centeredness is there. But in Shuddha Sattva, it is completely pure, and it is all these impurities are absent, and it's purely the pleasure for the pleasure of Krishna.
Okay. So basically, when we say material mode of goodness, it means there is possibility of presence of Rajaguna and Tamaguna. When we say Shuddha Sattva, no Rajaguna, no Tamaguna. 100% goodness. And that is only possible when one is beyond the 3 modes completely, liberated soul. So that Shuddha Sattva is not a material state, it's a spiritual state. Right? Isn't it? So in the stage of Bhava Bhakti, this spiritual state of consciousness, this energy of the Lord, enters into the heart of the devotee. Understood? Now, when this energy enters into the heart, this energy acts like what a sunbeam does to a seed of a plant. When a seed of a plant is sown in the field and the sunbeam light and heat enters into it, that seed sprouts. Right? Similarly, in our heart, there is this seed of Krishna Prema. When this beam of Shuddha Sattva will enter into our heart, that seed of Prema will sprout. That's why Bhagavad Gita says, what does it say? Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma Na Shochati Na Kamshati Sama Sarveshu Bhuteshu Mad Bhaktum Labhate Taram. So when Krishna says, one who is Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma, he attains my bhakti. What does this mean? We are not Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma. So which kind of bhakti we have obtained and which bhakti that person will obtain. So Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na shochati na kamshati same sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktin labhate param. So that person attains prema bhakti. Okay. So what is this Shuddha Sattva? This is Lord's devotional energy. Now, through whom this energy enters in our heart? It enters through the mercy of a pure devotee. Therefore, Bhava Bhakti is also known as Prema Ankura. Ankura means, you know, Ankura, right? Ankura means just it's beginning to sprout up, right? Ankura. So Prema Ankura is Bhav. Also in this verse, it is known as Prema Surya Anshu. If Prema is compared to sun, then Bhav is compared to an Anshu, a ray of that sun. Okay, a ray of that sun. So if the sun is coming, what will happen first? You'll see the sun rays. Similarly, if prema is coming in someone's heart, you'll begin to see bhav. Right? First you will see bhav, then prema. Right? Understood? So how Shuddha Sattva descends? Shuddha Sattva descends in this way. You see, Shuddha Sattva is composed of two potencies. Actually, there are three potencies, but Shuddha Sattva here is said consists of two potencies. The three potencies of Krishna are Samvit, Sandhini, and Haladini. Right? So Shuddha Sattva consists of Samvit potency, through which one begins to know Krishna, and Haladini potency, through which one is able to please and serve Krishna or love Krishna. If I want to know Krishna, I need the help of Samvit potency. If I need to love Krishna, I need the help of Haladini potency. Fine? Who is in charge of this Samvit potency? Balramji. Who is in charge of this Haladini potency? Radharani. So if I want to know Krishna, I need whose mercy? Balramji's mercy. If I want to love Krishna, I need whose mercy? Radharani's mercy. Right? So, when these potencies enter into one's heart, one can fully relish Krishna as the supreme object of love. Till that time, Krishna alone will never become the object of our love. Only when this potency enters into our heart, he will become the only and only object of our love. Fine. Now, what are the secondary characteristics of Bhava Bhakti? They are two in number. First is Chit Mashrinya, and the second is Ruchi Bhihi. Right? So, secondary characteristic is Chit Mashrinya. This Bhava Bhakti softens the heart of the practicing devotee. Softening of the heart means what? You have heard these verses from Bhagavatam. Certainly, that heart is steel framed, which in spite of chanting the holy name with concentration does not change. That means the heart is so hard. Though we are chanting the holy name, we don't see any emotions, no response. So when Bhava will come, the heart becomes so soft. As soon as you chant the names of Krishna, you start crying. As soon as you hear the name of Krishna, you start laughing. Which means you become super sensitive to Krishna consciousness. Now we are kind of inert Krishna consciousness. But then you become very soft in that sense, that anything related to Krishna brings overwhelming emotions in your heart. Understood? But we should know, things related to Krishna will bring that overwhelming emotions. That's called softness of heart here. It doesn't mean that any kind of emotion will become overwhelming for you. No, only things related to Krishna will be. Right? Fine. So that is there. And another secondary characteristic is it gives rise to different taste. Ruchi bhi. It gives rise to different desires when one achieves bhav. What are the different desires that may manifest in someone who achieves bhav? One is prapti abhilasha, desire to achieve Krishna. Prapti abhilasha. Second, anukulya abhilasha. One desires to please Krishna with various services. One is to achieve Krishna, another is to please Krishna, and Sauharda Abhilash. Sauharda Abhilash means one desires to be very close at heart with Krishna. Three things. So these kinds of desires start developing very strongly. Okay. Any questions for what we discussed before we go to the next topic within the same chapter?
Prabhuji, these secondary characteristics. Am I echoing? My voice echoing?
Yeah.
So these
No?
secondary. Okay, the secondary characteristics of bhava goes for both Vaidhi sadhana bhakti and Ragatmika bhakti, no?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
What else?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhuji, is my voice audible? Is it still cracked?
Yes, it's audible, bro.
Prabhuji, in some chapters back, on the topic of pure devotees, it was mentioned that the pure devotees, they don't show off that they're pure devotees. They act as if they are neophyte devotees or like very simple people. And in this chapter, we are seeing the pure devotees, the characteristics they exhibit in the example of Maharaj Ambarish. So it seems to be like there are varied exhibitions of different varied characteristics in terms of how the pure devotees act and how the symptoms manifest. So if it is the former case, the pure devotees are like very simple and the act as neophyte devotees, then it's very easy for one to be committing offenses to them. So how do we know that in the presence of such people that these are advanced souls when they don't show the symptoms externally?
That's why I just said that you be cautious and don't commit offense to anyone. That's why it said no. It's not said that you should not commit offense only to someone who is very advanced. They said you don't commit offense to anyone. Because you will not be able to come to know who is advanced and who is not. Nowhere we read or hear that, don't commit offense to an advanced Vaishnava or a pure devotee of Krishna. We read, don't commit offense towards any Vaishnava or anyone.
Yes.
How much more we should be doing it towards advanced Vaishnavas. Now, you see, it's not so much important whether the other person is advanced or not, which will prevent us from committing offense. What will prevent us from committing offenses is our own humility. And our humility does not depend on others' advancement.
Yes.
That depends on our advancement. Right or wrong?
Yes, Prabhu.
So when we see advanced devotees, you see one quality in them very strongly. They don't commit offense towards anyone, whether advanced or new. They are respectful towards all.
Hmm.
They don't think like the way we think. I should be cautious in committing offense towards advanced devotees. They think I should be cautious in committing offense towards any devotee.
Hmm.
Right?
Yes, Prabhu. The background from which I was asking this question was oftentimes it is very easy to relate or connect with devotees who were philosophically very sound, but at the same time, but on the other hand, it is not very easy to connect with people who are like just by themselves not speaking much of philosophy, whereas deeply absorbed within themselves. So that is where I was just trying to see how can we how can we know whether that devotee is very pure when they don't speak much.
Why do we have to judge on this basis if someone is speaking much or not speaking much? That makes him a pure devotee or does not make him a pure devotee. That's not what is the characteristic, right?
Yeah.
Pure devotees have their own nature also. Some may like to be very expressive,
Reserved.
some may like to be very reserved, some may be very friendly, some may be very, very strict. So that's their personal nature. Now you cannot say why your personal nature is like this. That personal nature of that person gives that person a personality.
Hmm.
And that personality attracts Krishna. So who are we to then say, why is your nature like this? If that pure devotee's nature is attractive to Krishna, then who are we, right?
Hmm.
Now, if you don't get attracted to such nature, then you find someone else to whom you get attracted. But then don't expect the other person to become the way you want.
Yeah, it was more in terms of rendering service, Prabhu. So someone who is very reserved, they don't like to accept service. So that is where I was asking the
So
question.
then if someone is very reserved, don't want to accept service, then you do the service of not doing service. Simple. Am I right or wrong?
Hmm.
Like someone says, like I'll give you an example of Bhakti Damodar Maharaj. Now, Maharaj is very particular about what he wants to eat, when he wants to eat, how much he wants to eat, from whose hands he wants to eat. Okay? Very, very particular. Huh? For many reasons. One reason is he has stomach ulcers from many years. So one thing is that if he eats something which is not good, then immediately there'll be problem in the stomach, right? Second thing, he has been eating frugally for years. So if he eats more, it's going to give him stomach issues, naturally,
Yes.
right? Third thing, his taste is not Indian. His taste is different. Fine. Fourth thing, there are certain things we does not like. His taste is very different from other devotees' taste. Now, for so many factors, then he does not eat at all places. Even if he's invited, he does not go. Now, in India, this is this culture. You meet any Vaishnava, especially if someone is a sannyasi. Maharaj, please come for prasada. Maharaj, please give us a chance to serve. Maharaj, we would like to cook for you. Maharaj, bless us with this opportunity. Right? Isn't it correct?
Yes.
Now, if let's say that sannyasi says, I'm sorry, I cannot. So what will be your service at that time? If you really want to serve.
So I should be thinking that there is some reason why they're saying no, and understand.
Then
not-
understand that then you are doing service, no?
Yes.
At that time you say, no, but I want to feed you, I want to serve you. Why you are not accepting this service? If you accept this service from me, I will make advancement in Krishna consciousness. Think about my Krishna consciousness. I depend on your mercy.
Yes.
So, when you want to serve someone, you try to understand that person's nature. If you like that person's nature, and as per that person's nature, you are willing to serve that person, then only you can heartily accept that person.
Yes.
And this is a problem, I mean, I have found that before people enter into relationships, whether it is material or spiritual, it's very important to understand what is the other person's expectations from me. Very important. And then to ask yourself, will I be able to fulfill those expectations? Right.
Yes.
But that's what we do. Generally, we think it's okay. By time, both will understand. But then it doesn't happen. One thing is very interesting, especially, I don't know why, it's with some people or it's with Indians or whatever. People shy away from telling their expectations. But then they should know in material as well as in spiritual. Like, for example, let me tell you very openly. If you are taking shelter of the pure devotee of Krishna, you also have a right to express your expectations. Like, for example, if you are accepting someone as spiritual master, you also have a right to tell that person, Guru Maharaj, I'm actually looking for a spiritual master who can, if I want, receive my phone calls. If I need, who can sit with me and talk for half an hour, 1 hour. If I need, who can give me some emotional support. Rather than thinking, because he's a pure devotee of Krishna, he should understand my mind. No. Because even if he's a pure devotee of Krishna, maybe circumstances will not allow that person to call you. Circumstances will not allow that person to sit with you and talk with you for half an hour. For many reasons, maybe that person has like hundreds or thousands of disciples. Or maybe that person, nature is not like that. You're understanding, no? Right? So we have to know what we can get from whom. That's very important. I also sometimes used to think like this. It's a very personal thing which I'm sharing. I also used to feel like, okay, I've taken initiation from my spiritual master, but if I need some time, if I need counseling, he does not have time. So what? So then I started thinking, but is it right for me to think that he will become the way I want? Or if I need something and I'm not getting it from him, then why not get it from someone else? What's wrong in that?
Yes.
What's wrong in that?
Nothing wrong.
Right?
And one of the reasons when I just introspect and one of the reasons that one may be shying away from expressing their expectations is the fear of expecting no, because the reality is not that not all of the expectations would be met, and when someone gets the answer as no, it may be very difficult to actually take it. So out of that
Yeah.
fear,
So that's the reason is that you start imagining things about a relationship when such things don't exist. Right.
yes.
That's why we have to be a little practical. And then you have such expectations from someone, that person is not fulfilling it. Go to Krishna and pray. Send someone in my life who can fulfill those expectations. And when Krishna sends such a person in your life, then you accept that person, you embrace that person as Krishna's sent help. But then we all conditioned souls are so foolish. When sometimes that help also comes, then we neglect it or reject it.
Don't value it.
Don't value it. Because we want that help to come from that direction only, which we always wanted. But it may be coming from somewhere else.
And the way we want it.
And the way.
Thank you.
Right. Okay, got it, Prabhu.
Prabhu, I was thinking about what you said, and I can relate to it that in my personal experience, this place where I'm living currently is not very, I'm not getting that kind of association that one gets in a metropolitan city with iskcon devotees. And very few devotees are here, and they're also not very much enthusiastic in preaching Krishna consciousness. So it bereft me of association and service both. And I was thinking, like, there is no sankirtan going on here, there is no preaching going on, no prasad distribution, no book distribution. And I wanted like somebody who would help me personally grow in my Krishna consciousness. And I was very sad regarding this. And then finally, last year, I came across Ayendra Prabhu and his video lectures. And this literally shook me to advance in Krishna consciousness. And I'm very thankful to Krishna for sending me Ainda Prabhu's lectures and his videos. Like they really, it transformed my entire life actually. And even though I don't have any physical association of devotees.
Very good. Thank you. Yes, this is how it happens. Very good. Yes. Okay, any other question? Next. Achieving bhav. Now, there are two ways to achieve bhav. One is what? By ardent spiritual practice. That your practice is very strong, right? You achieve bhav. And the other is by special mercy of Krishna or his pure devotee. Okay. Understood? Two ways. So, how do you do ardent spiritual practice? That also you do in the association of pure devotees. Without association of pure devotees, there's no possibility of ardent spiritual practice. Not possible. So that also you do in the association of pure devotees. Fine. And the other is by special mercy of Krishna or pure devotee of Krishna. So, bhav is achieved by practice, and that kind of bhav has two divisions, so two subdivisions. What are those two subdivisions? They are, first is called bhav attained through Vaidhi sadhana, and the other is bhav attained through Raganuga sadhana. Okay, that we have understood before also, right? I had shown that diagram, that chart. So Narad Muni's example is of that someone who did Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, through Vaidhi sadhana bhakti came to bhav, and from bhav came to prema. Okay? Fine. All right. So what is that Vaidhi sadhana? That Vaidhi sadhana is you hear repeatedly discourses of pure devotees of Krishna. That's one important limb of it. That you hear Krishna Katha from pure devotees of Krishna. Okay? Now, Raganuga sadhana. Example of Raganuga sadhana is this one paragraph we read, that there is a girl named Chandrakanti. She saw a deity of Krishna and she developed a desire, I want to dance with Krishna throughout the night. So whole night she started dancing. Fine. Through this Raganuga sadhana, she achieved bhav. Okay. Now another is mercy. Achieving bhav by mercy is possible, but it is not common. It is like once in a while, some rare soul. Example is what Prabhupada gives. You achieve graduation from college without studying in college as an honorary degree. That's like not for everyone. Not for everyone. Isn't it? Fine. So there are three ways of achieving bhav in that way. One is what? Three ways is, one is Three ways are by Krishna's mercy, which comes in three forms. Vachika. Krishna will bless you. Krishna's pure devotee will bless you. May you become Krishna's pure devotee. Fine. The other is Darshanadan. Krishna will give you darshan, and because you have seen Krishna once, you suddenly develop bhav. And third is Krishna desires that you attain bhav. Or Krishna's pure devotee desires that you attain bhav. Good wish. Okay. So examples are given. We read those examples, like here. In the Narada Purana, there is a statement about development of ecstatic love simply by speaking. Lord Krishna said to Narada, O best of the Brahmanas, I wish that you may develop unalloyed devotional service to me, which is full of transcendental bliss and auspiciousness. So here Krishna is speaking to Narada. What is he speaking? You develop. I wish that you may develop. So this is by speaking. Next example is in the Skanda Purana, there is a statement about developing ecstatic love toward Krishna simply by glancing. It is stated there, when the inhabitants of Jangala province saw the personality of Godhead Krishna, they were so stricken with feeling that they could not withdraw their glance from him. And the third is, as far as heartfelt wishes are concerned, there is a statement in the Shuka Samhita when Narada tells Śrīla Vyasadeva, you have a son who is the greatest devotee of the personality of Godhead. Who is the greatest devotee. And I can observe that without any following of the regulative principles of devotional service, is already enriched with many of the symptoms achieved by the execution of devotional service after many, many births. Then, if a devotee may desire that you become a pure devotee or you achieve ecstatic love, that is also possible. Right? Like here. As for ecstatic love of Krishna, there is a statement in 7th canto, 4th chapter, verse 36 of Srimad Bhagavatam, in which Narada addresses King Yudhishthira. My dear king, it is very difficult to describe the character of Prahlada. He developed a natural affection for Krishna. And whatever I can explain about his character will simply be an arrangement of words. His actual character is impossible to describe. So, it's written. When Prahlad Maharaj was within the womb of his mother, she was being sympathetically instructed by Narad about the science of devotional service. And at the same time, Narad was wishing that the child within the womb could also take advantage of the instructions. Because Narad is an authorized great associate of the Lord, was desiring auspiciousness for Prahlad Maharaj, he developed all the characteristics of a high grade devotee. This is called natural attraction. It is caused by the special grace of the personality of Godhead, or by the special grace of a great devotee like Narada. Understood? Which means by the special mercy of a great devotee, also someone can immediately. Yes, Madhumati.
Prabhuji, Dhruv Maharaj will fall into the category of Darshana Bhav, right?
Dhruv Maharaj was?
Will fall into the category of Darshana Bhav, that you talked about?
He saw Krishna. Yes, yes. No,
Yeah.
not the darshan, actually, it was touch. Of course, he saw Lord Vishnu, and he
Touch.
felt ecstasy. And then Lord Vishnu took his conch shell and put it on the head of Dhruv Maharaj.
Hmm.
In this way, he developed. Yes, Maharaj.
Prabhuji, when we attend lectures by spiritual masters, pure devotees, and they bless everyone, so that would include all the three blessings, right?
If they bless, yes. Yes. It will include all three.
I've heard this sometimes from devotees, like when we pray for our own selves, it doesn't work, but when someone else prays for us, it works faster. So that is
Yeah.
true now from this
Yeah.
statement.
Yes.
Thank you.
When someone else prays for us, then because that person is doing it selflessly for us, Krishna takes more interest in such a prayer, or such a call. Any other question? So, the external symptoms also, which are more assuring to help us decide if someone is advanced. So that is explained in the next chapter. Characteristics of ecstatic love. We'll not just do the whole chapter today. We'll just read through some parts to prepare you for tomorrow's class. Character of one in ecstatic love. Rupa Goswami next describes the characteristics of a person who has actually developed his ecstatic love for Krishna. The characteristics are as follows. He is always anxious to utilize his time in the devotional service of the Lord. He does not like to be idle. He wants service always, 24 hours a day, without deviation. That's one. He is always reserved and perseverant, which means what? Those who are on the level of bhav, they'll have goals, which they may not express to you sometimes. Spiritual goals, not material goals. And they are very pinpointed in their determination to achieve those goals. Some or other. Getting it? It's very strict vows, very strict, pinpointed, perseverant. Next, always detached from all material attraction. Next, does not long for any material respect in return for his activities. Means that person has a goal, that person wants to achieve it, that person is working very hard, but that person is not depending on others' appreciation, kindness, sympathy, encouragement. You getting it? Now, of course, we don't have to think about it, but when we read about Prabhupada's life, don't we see all these qualities in him? Right, isn't it? See all these qualities in him. He is always certain that Krishna will bestow his mercy upon him. Right? Means he always have that hope, one day, one day, one day. Next, he is always very eager to serve the Lord faithfully. He is very much attached to the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. He is always eager to describe the transcendental qualities of the Lord. And he is very pleased to live in a place where the Lord's pastimes are performed. Example, Mathura, Vrindavana, Dwaraka, or wherever there is Krishna consciousness. Right? Wherever there is Krishna consciousness. Isn't it? So now, Rupa Goswami will describe each of these qualities in detail. So these are something which we have to see, or which we should be seeing in someone who is on the platform, Bhava Bhakti. Not if someone is crying tears or not. Not that. Because someone may cry and someone may hide. Someone may show, someone may not. Right? Generally, people think those who sit on the Vyasasana and start crying, and for the whole katha, if they are crying, they are most advanced devotees. Yeah, you must have seen these professional kathakars. I don't want to take name, but there are many. As soon as they sit on the Vyasasana, tears start rolling down the cheeks. As soon as they sit on the Vyasasana, immediately. If you ask them what's wrong with you, then there's nothing wrong with me. This is the effect of the asana on which I'm sitting. As soon as I sit on the asana, tears start rolling down my cheeks. Automatically. And then when they get up from the asana, then gone. Tears are gone. So not that. These are the actual symptoms which are given in this chapter. 9 characteristics of Bhava Bhakti. Some non-Bhava platform problems like this. So we see that quality, right? In personalities. Some personalities very visibly, so we can know, yes, this person must be so advanced. Like, don't we see these qualities in His Holiness Jayapataka Sai Maharaj? Perseverant. I mean, in this condition also, persevering. No, I have to travel, I have to give class, I have to meet people. No rest. Still eager to speak about Krishna. Right? Still eager to chant the holy names. So that's the way to judge, or that's the way to evaluate. Same thing with Gopal Krishna Maharaj. The throat is completely down. Hardly people can hear him. Hardly he can speak. But still, if he'll get a chance, he'll sit on the asana, do the chanting, speak also for half an hour, 45 minutes. Even if no one is able to hear, still he'll speak. Which means what? Persevering. Please, Krishna. So that is only possible at such advanced stage. These are the ways to see or judge, not that whether that person is crying tears or not. Right? So you see, our acharyas have done such a wonderful job, isn't it? Given us so crystal clear knowledge, explaining what is what in such depth. All right, so if no other question, we'll stop here. Happy Ekadashi to all of you. We'll meet again tomorrow for the last two chapters of this book. Yes, Madhumati Mataji.
So, Prabhuji, the 9 points that we talked right now, those are the points of pure goodness, and that leads to bhava.
These are the qualities that you see in someone who has bhava. Not qualities lead to bhava. You see in someone who has bhava.
So it's pure goodness, and then it goes to bhava.
Because of pure goodness, these qualities exist. And that's bhava. And that will lead to prema. So there, Prabhu.
Guruji, I had a question from last class.
Okay, now one more thing. Just a question. So here we heard that person is very perseverant. But perseverance is also a quality seen in materialistic people. So is that perseverance and this perseverance same?
No.
It's not same, no? It's not same. How it's not same? That is material, this is spiritual. The soil from which that perseverance is born is different. And the soil from which this perseverance is born is different. It's just like an orange from a real orange tree and an artificial orange hanging from a plastic tree. Both are orange, looking like orange. But one is real, the other is. Similarly, there is material perseverance and spiritual perseverance. Sometimes people, what they think is material quality and spiritual quality same. A devotee's patience and a non-devotee's patience same. A devotee's love and a non-devotee's love same. A devotee's determination, non-devotee's determination same. A devotee's humility and a non-devotee's humility same. But it's not same because the soil from which material qualities are born are different, and the soil from which spiritual qualities are born are different. In material sense, one may be very humble. In spiritual reality, that person may be very proud. In another way, material sense, someone may be very proud. In spiritual reality, that person may be very humble. To give you an example, what is pride in material sense? Material sense pride means you're very straightforward, right? Isn't it? Correct. You you don't you don't you don't say you always speak sweet words then you're humble. You don't disagree with anyone, then you're humble in material sense, right? Correct. But then Prabhupada did he always speak sweetly? Prabhupada, did he always agree with everyone? Right? Isn't it? Did he always bow down before everyone? Like the Prime Minister, the President of the country. So from material perspective, people say, oh, this Swamiji is a very arrogant man. Huh? So yes, externally, material speaking looks like that. But in spiritual reality, oh, he's the most humble person. Right, so that's why devotees have to understand this thing that by reading self-help books written by self-help coaches, we may develop material good qualities, not spiritual. Spiritual good qualities will come by associating with devotees of Krishna by reading Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, life of Vaishnavas. Right? There's a difference in that. Huge difference. Sudhir Prabhu.
Prabhu, I had some questions from last class. We were discussing last class. It was one of the topics discussed was attraction to a certain form of the Lord. So my question was, is it possible that one may be attracted to a certain form of the Lord in the initial stages of devotional service, and maybe the attraction to a different form of the Lord could happen at a later stages of life?
Yeah, possible. Possible. Next.
Second one, regarding taking initiation from one spiritual master and having a different Siksha Guru, that was also one of the topics discussed in last class. So someone who is not initiated, if one is feeling inspired to take Diksha from a particular spiritual master and maybe Siksha from another Guru before initiation, is that acceptable, or one could, is it something to do some introspection and ask oneself, why am I not taking Diksha and Siksha from the same spiritual master?
Yeah, it is acceptable. You take Siksha from someone, Diksha from someone else. No problem. If you can see that it's not happening, Siksha and Diksha from same, then you can always do Siksha and Diksha from different. No issues.
So the reason I asked this is, if someone were to ask me, because why are you taking like this? Why not Diksha from the same? So I don't have an answer or how to explain it. So what?
You tell, because I have my commitment, which I've already made to someone in my heart, or even by saying, and I'm not able to remove my heart from there. At the same time, I also have this need to connect with someone else. So what's wrong?
Yeah. Yes, please. Yeah. Thank you.
What's wrong? Right?
Yes, sir.
If there is a need, it's a genuine need. Then why do we have to justify to someone else why that need is there? It's there. What to do now? Right? No?
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yes, bro.
Correct. When are the exams? So this week we'll complete. Next 1 week you can take for your studies. So next week we can have exams. Right? Dates I will post in the group, but you can yourself guess next week. Any of those dates. Madhumati Mataji, yes, you have only 2 periods so far, that's all.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Okay, so